Hello, my friends, and welcome to a brand new episode of Discourse in Magic. My name is Jonah, and in this episode, we sit down with Kate Tsang. Now, Kate is not a magician, but she did put out a magic movie, and it is called Marvelous and the Black Hole, and it is a marvelous movie. It's so much fun. It features Rhea Perlman, and this episode is me chatting with Kate about her experience learning about magic and learning more magic. You know, it took her to the Magic Castle, took her to meeting new magicians, bringing on Kayla Drescher as a magic consultant for the movie, and it is a really, really fun and wonderful movie, Marvelous and the Black Hole. So please, it's streaming everywhere. Go enjoy the movie. Go check it out. It's really fun. But also enjoy this conversation about how Kate took everything that she learned from the magic community and it influenced her in her writing and directing of this wonderful film, Marvelous and the Black Hole. So here it is, a wonderful conversation with the one and only Kate Tsang. Kate Tsang. Kate, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited to have you on, and I recently got a chance to watch your movie, Marvelous and the Black Hole, which is an incredible movie. And before I talk a little bit about it, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what this movie is all about and why you are here on a magic podcast?
Yeah, so Marvelous and the Black Hole is a coming-of-age story about a teenage delinquent who befriends a kid's party magician who helps her navigate her dysfunctional family and inner demons with the help of sleight of hand magic. And it stars Rhea Perlman and Mia Czech.
It is such a blast of a movie. It's so great to see Rhea Perlman just having a ton of fun, it looks like, and doing a great job. This was a lot of fun, and I wanted to ask a couple of questions about the movie. And first of all, why magic? You know, there's a lot of different topics that could be explored. These mentor-mentee type relationships. Did magic play a big role in your life, or what was it about magic that seemed like the perfect subject for this?
Yeah, the story is about Sammy, and her mother has passed away recently, and she's really struggling with the loss. And to me, I really gravitated towards sleight of hand magic because it's all about transformation and wonder and possibility. And to a grieving girl, losing your mom and imagining a life where you're totally fine again is like an impossible task. But by doing sleight of hand magic and doing these tiny miracles every day with Margot, magician, she starts to open herself up again to, wonder and possibility and transformation.
Sometimes as magicians, we forget that magic has sometimes that power over people, or at least it can help inspire people and help give them new hope, new ideas. Do you have any experiences that you had personally with magic that did that for you, or that kind of opened your eyes to magic being an art that can sort of speak to people?
Yeah, I would say I sort of found my way into magic, because of the script, but it's also through storytelling. Like, storytelling to me was magic. Growing up, my parents got divorced when I was young, and I was bounced back and forth between their homes in the Bay Area and Hong Kong, and it was a really isolating experience. So with my mom, my grandfather came over to take care of me, and he would tell me these stories at night that would bring me a lot of make me laugh and bring me hope, and sort of still painted the world as a place that was full of darkness, but still had a lot of beauty in it. And that kind of storytelling really stuck with me. And I wanted to be able to combine that kind of feeling I got from that with magic, like sleight of hand magic. And that was important to me with this film. And when I started writing the script, I didn't know anything about sleight of hand magic.
Oh, really?
My only exposure to magic was a David Copperfield special. So I knew when I really wanted this kind of device in my film of magic as storytelling and as transformation, I knew I needed to do some research. So I took some classes at the Magic Castle because they let laymen come in, which is a great class. And I ended up really geeking out on it. And the TA in the class was like, hey, you seem to be kind of like liking this. Maybe you should keep going. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, maybe you should think about, auditioning for the castle. And I was like, I don't know anything. Like, this is like impossible. And but this TA, Dana Douglas, like, was like, no, don't worry, I'll help you. And like, totally like introduced me to other magicians. And they took like showed me, a lot of really cool stuff to work on. And like, basically I had met this community and like started getting mentored by all these magicians by just being curious about this art form. And so in a way, it sort of also like mirrors the journey that Sammy goes through, and like just having a little bit of curiosity about a thing can like lead you to like meeting so many new people and more possibility. And yeah, I just like really geeked out on it.
That's such a great story, because I think everybody who joins this podcast who ends up being a magician or being interested in magic, we all kind of have a different version of that same story. Somebody tells us about magic, we have some reason to go check out some magic, and then we don't know what it is, but we're just hooked. We're hooked on what it is. We're hooked on doing it, and it ends up being a pretty welcoming community. Can you talk a little bit more about just stumbling into the magic community? I think a lot of us, it's interesting, or at least strange, to hear the opinion of somebody who didn't grow up with it or didn't spend 20 years in it, but maybe just got a chance to take a peek and look and see what's going inside. What are some of the feelings that you get from the magic community that you've been a part of?
Yeah, I would say, going from somebody who like just felt like I know nothing, like I don't even know how to enter this world. Like I would read books, but I'm definitely a visual learner. So like really word dense books with like very little drawings. Like I just felt like this was like an impenetrable world. But by having sort of like access to a class, and then suddenly somebody saying, hey, you got something there, why don't you keep going? Like, and this is like me as an adult getting that and getting to feel that kind of wonder. And, being in LA, having, the Magic Castle, it's like such a gift in that sense, where I can actually start, seeing lots of shows and different kinds of magic. And like the library is insane there. But there's so much, I ended up meeting so many people who just wanted to share their love for this gift. And like, it's infectious.
It's so exciting to hear that. I think the magic community is one that people have to stumble into, especially the in-person ones. And there's a lot of online magic communities, a little bit different. And with the in-person ones, it's great to hear, it's such a positive community. One thing that I noticed about the movie was there was obviously both a female lead and also a female mentor. And in magic, the ratio of men and women in magic is not great. It's not stellar. And there are a handful of very important female mentors in magic that are around. And there's obviously plenty of women who are doing great work in magic. But I found it very exciting. This was it's something that I've never seen before in film, is a female magic mentee and mentor paired together, sort of this motherly like relationship. Can you talk a little bit about, just your selecting of this and your thinking about these characters?
So I really love intergenerational friendship stories, and like the Karate Kid and like Harold and Maude, the platonic version, was definitely like an influence on the story itself. But when I was doing comps for the movie, having two female characters who in an intergenerational friendship who were not related, like that film I like did not exist. I couldn't find it. And so that was even more impetus for me to want to make this. And also my experience having like doing the research into, sleight of hand magic and the community that I met, I was being mentored by the women magicians.
Oh, awesome.
And so I wanted to, also show that generosity on screen. And we were so lucky that Kayla Drescher became our magic consultant and was so encouraging of the project. And she, like, when I wrote the script, I didn't know how any of these magic tricks were going to be done, but I just wrote what I wanted to see on the screen. And then Kayla took these like really wacky, impossible ideas and like made them come to life.
Wow.
And she made props, and she like broke it down technically and taught me and Rhea how to do everything.
Wow. Yeah, Kayla did an amazing job making the magic happen in that movie. I'd love to hear a little bit more about the actual magic part in the movie. Like, how was teaching Rhea magic? How was that experience of learning and also integrating? How was how was your experience of like actually doing magic, like learning magic to be a part of this movie and maybe start having an eye for these things even more? How was that aspect?
Kayla, I mean, she had her eyes like behind the camera to make sure everything looked good. But I think the first time me and Rhea ever met, we wanted to do some chemistry sort of like bonding activities. We all went to a magic show together. So they would like start having an idea of what, with the kind of world they were going to step into. And then they had classes together with Kayla, where Kayla would teach them each their individual tricks and also stuff they could learn together. And it was so cute to watch like Rhea and Mia, like, trying to palm, and then Mia would be like, oh, actually, you're flashing a little. And then like they, help each other out. And I think Kayla would give them homework as well so that they can each learn their individual parts. And it's an indie film, so there's very little time to get ready. I think we only had 3 weeks for everybody to learn their parts. And so they worked so hard. And on the day of when we would shoot the actual tricks, Kayla would be there making sure everything looked great as well.
Talk to me a little bit about the books that you included in the film and talking a little bit about Chung Su.
So there's a moment in, Sammy's getting ready, or she's been given a challenge to try to figure out how Margot does certain tricks. So she's like gone to the library and checked out all these magic books to try to like basically figure out Margot. And she comes across, a section in an older book called Oriental Magic, and it tells her, why not try putting on basically yellow face to be a successful magician. And I wanted to include that kind of bit into it because as somebody who was, new to magic and coming and going through all these amazing treasure troves of books, like it was hard to sort of like, come up against like something I really loved, like magic, and then see sort of like hints of this like really sort of unsavory kind of past that's part of magic that you can't deny. But I also, wanted to show Sammy was not going to be deterred by seeing these things. She's still going to keep going and pursuing this thing that she's interested in.
It was such a great moment because I think a lot of us magicians have books on our shelves with sections in them that we are like embarrassed to have, and there are famous magic books that have full segments and full, front covers, and things that are unsavory, as you put it. And I think that a lot of us have experienced trying to gloss over some of the things that are unsavory, about magic's past. And I love that you included it. And I think, there's a lot of museums and historians that talk a lot about whether or not to include, info about like Chung Su, for example, as somebody who completely appropriated a culture to do magic is bonkers. But it's also part of our history, and it's important to talk about it. And I think when I asked you earlier about, the women in magic, I think that one of the problems or one of the issues is the lack of visibility. Like we want more women to see more women in magic. And, if you look through a magic book, you don't see a lot of women in there either, So there's a lot more work that we have to do. And I think a lot of magicians can relate to that moment that you're talking about, where they look inside a book and they need to maybe push through some of the things that they don't like to see more of the things that we do. And thankfully, there's an amazing growing community of women in magic, and people are putting a lot of work into doing a better job of not removing, but being respectful of some of these weird remnants that are inside of magic. So definitely an awesome moment in the film, and thank you for putting that in, because magic certainly has a complicated past.
Yes, it does. And yeah, and also, with women in magic, if you can see it, you can be it kind of thing. So
That's exactly right. The more that we can see that young people can see themselves in those on the screen, the better. I wanted to ask you, have you met Suzanne, the magician?
yes, she's amazing. She's
Suzanne is
incredible.
phenomenal, and Suzanne just made me think of Rhea the whole time. Just the whole
Oh
entire
my
time.
gosh.
Just the perfect, like,
Yes.
she's like the mother of magic. So,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
wow. Talk to me a little bit about the experience of getting this film out at Sundance. Talk to me about how that was all about.
Incredible. The film was originally supposed to premiere at Tribeca because of the grant that we had won that had funded this film. But the world had changed by then, and we didn't really even know if we were going to be able to finish our film in 2020 at all. So we had to wait till studios were opening up again to finish our sound, to get all the things we needed, and we didn't really know what was going to happen with the film. And when we found out it got into Sundance, it was just like an incredible experience. And it was a virtual premiere, which I'm so stoked about because my family and friends didn't have to brave the snow.
Yeah, even
Everybody could just
better.
watch it really comfortably. But it was amazing.
It's such a treat anytime that we can see, magic and magic portrayed well in pop culture. So it's very cool to see it and very exciting that it's going to be out and streaming on, it seems like everywhere on April 29th, everywhere in Canada and the US on all the streaming platforms, Amazon, iTunes, you can find it there. One thing that I thought was really interesting in the film is that you played a little bit on one of the jokes or common tropes, not really a joke, but of saying like, find your passion, do your passion, but that not really sometimes making sense or not really applying to people. And sometimes people feeling forced. I mean, I felt like that was an interesting moment in the film that we kind of felt, we really felt that energy of people telling us like, follow your dreams. And I was like, I don't know if I really have, dreams to be followed or what I should be doing. Like I really related to that. I think a lot of other people might as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's especially when you're asking like a 13-year-old character to follow your dreams. It's just, I think for me, it's like a slight joke about sort of, the positive but sometimes unhelpful advice you get in times when you need like maybe some more honesty or an actual helping hand, rather than just like random truisms. I don't know.
I love it. Well, Kate, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. This was a ton of fun. And I really highly recommend Magicians. Go out there and check out Marvelous and The Black Hole. You can stream it and watch it everywhere. Kate, any last words for the Discourse in Magic audience?
Thank you so much for listening.
Well, there you have it. I hope you liked the episode, and I hope, of course, that you learned something. Remember, April 29th, this is streaming, and when you're listening to this, it is April 28th or later. So go and check it out on your streaming platforms, Marvelous and The Black Hole, and thank you to the marvelous Kate Tsang for being on the podcast. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you next Thursday. Peace.